Influencers of all sizes are the most prominent tool when trying to advertise on Instagram, and Instagram is one of the biggest platforms around. If you want to know the best way to utilize this incredibly novel form of marketing, then stay tuned. If you finish this video, then you're going to know how to work with the right influencers, subtle versus obvious ads, a follow-up strategy for how to communicate with influencers, a general communication and brand plan. You'll understand audiences and reach on Instagram, and you'll be able to track your results. And then at the end, if you're still here, I'm going to go through my top tips for gaining and maintaining a following on Instagram. So today's video is going to be a little bit different. I spoke with Liam McEwan. Wasn't Liam like the most followed person in New Zealand at one stage?
Yeah, I think Lord has definitely probably surpassed me there. But yeah, I think I'm still in the top 5, which is pretty crazy.
We talk about Instagram influencers in great detail, and throughout this video, we're going to take the nugs of that interview and sprinkle it all over this video. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for me. Stay tuned for us both. Let's go. Like, there's 2 organic things happening there. There's like, you have like sponsored ads where you go, oh, hey, can you promote this thing? And then you've got TikTok, which is like, you could have a far more subtle ad approach and also reach 50 times more. I'm not really sure on the digits, but it sounds to me that the impressions algorithm on TikTok is going to blow you to far more people.
It's insane. Especially TikTok is so trend based. You'll get companies jumping on a trend bandwagon, and without paying a dime for advertising, it blows up. You know what I mean? Like, there was that video, I don't know if you saw that video on TikTok of that guy, and he was drinking cranberry juice, listening to Fleetwood Mac on his skateboard.
Yeah. Dreams. Yeah,
and it was just real vibey. And then all of a sudden that cranberry juice just like sells out everywhere. Everyone wants that cranberry juice. And it's interesting. And like the logo's all up in the camera. And that was definitely not sponsored at all. It was just a dude vibing, listening to a great song. And all of a sudden this company has $50 million worth of marketing, extreme marketing. But then, yeah, that for them was like pure luck, so.
Yeah. Where do you see the line being drawn in the future? Like, would you prefer, if we take like the brand perspective, for people to not really know? Like, I mean, legally, you've got to say hashtag ad on Instagram, but like, that's a great example of like a fluke. But people are obviously going to see that trend and try and make that fluke. Yeah. What do you think about that from the brand perspective? Like, can people realistically like make flukes? Or do you think it's better to just be like, no, this is an ad and we're going to try and shove it down your throat?
Well, I think companies have tried doing things like that. Like, they might, pay an influencer to be holding their cup, or they're wearing their sweatshirt, or doing their something, just so it is a little bit more organic rather than push in your face. An example of that, a great example of it, I don't know if you've heard of Charli D'Amelio, who's the biggest TikToker in the world. She's got 100 and something million followers on TikTok, which is out of this world. But she loved Dunkin' Donuts, Dunkin' coffee, in particular, the coffee from Dunkin'. So in her TikToks, as she'd be doing her dance, which is the thing that makes her go viral, she'd be sipping on a coffee or using it as like a prop and just naturally showing off that she was having that coffee. And then within 3 months of her naturally doing that, which I'm sure it was probably paid for, because these people are a lot smarter than to do free advertising, she had her own drink at Dunkin' called the Charli, which sold out everywhere, and everyone was lining up to get the Charli, coffee, which was her favorite coffee. So, there's things like that where that natural look can then be turned into a huge multi-million-dollar marketing explosion, Yeah,
that's crazy.
I think obviously there is a line between like too pushy and in your face, but we're just kind of used to that, aren't we? As consumers, where we open up a YouTube video and you've got ads that you can't skip. When you open up TikTok, there's an ad that comes up that you have to watch a couple of seconds of before you can skip it, We are very used to seeing that. So that's why when it is a little bit more natural, I guess it does seem a little bit more authentic. I mean, I'm guilty of doing very obnoxious brand deals, but that's because that's what the companies want. I recently did something with masks, a mask company, which I was happy to do because obviously I thought it was a great thing to be talking about. And they wanted a TikTok. I just had to do a whole pretty much minute-long ad. And in a way, I guess it feels like you're selling your soul a bit. But then at the end of the day, it's a job for some people. You know what I mean? Like money talks, man. But yeah, no, it is interesting. I would love to start doing some more, I guess, discreet brand deals, but then also values-wise. See, that was something that I was more than happy to promote. There are some things you get approached to talk about, and it just either doesn't align with your values or align with what I guess with what it is that you want to talk about on social media. Like I have like alcohol companies hit me up, and I have weed companies hit me up, and I have no issues with alcohol and weed. It's just not the type of thing I want to be talking about on my social media, you know? But as I say, money talks, man, especially in this day and age, you know, like I also turn down quite a lot of brand deals if they don't pay enough. They're like, oh, why would you like turn that down? I'm like, because this company was offering me $100 to post something, which would truly be, I think, selling my soul. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The more you understand your brand's values, the easier it's going to be to create a strong visual identity that supports your brand's mission. You might remember me talking about the 4 truths of the storyteller, which you can read in this Harvard Business Review link in the description. I'm just waiting for you to scroll down and like that. Smash that like button, subscribe, and then we'll continue the video. Thanks. The truth to the storyteller is authenticity to yourself. The truth to the audience is expectation and the delivery. Truth to the moment is the zeitgeist. And truth to the mission is the cause of your brand. Because our audience is mainly like business owners. If they were going to come to an influencer and be like, yo, hook us up with the weed package, it's kind of like not really talked about, but it's kind of obvious as well that if you're not smoking doobies in every post, you're the wrong guy to hit up.
Right, exactly. Like, and brands like I think have just don't even care anymore. Like I'll get hit up by like girl swimwear companies.
Yeah.
And like I think my analytics are like 80% females. So the audience is there. But like, what the hell am I doing selling swimwear? Like, I can't even pretend that I'm passionate about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's too overt.
Exactly. Unless I'm like, damn, the swimwear looks hot on my girlfriend. Like, there's not much that I can really do there. It's an interesting one. But as I say, yeah, brands don't even really care at this stage. They're just reaching out to people, seeing what they can get. And another thing that has become hugely popular with brands is using micro influencers. Micro influencers are like influencers that are like 2,000 to 3,000 followers. And because, you know, companies aren't spending thousands of dollars on advertising with them, and they just come across as like normal people, they can give either free product or here's $50 to post about a product. And these micro influencers will do it. And because they only gave free product or paid $50, they can have the budget to go to hundreds of different micro influencers, which at the end of the day is extremely beneficial because you haven't had to pay this one influencer thousands and thousands of dollars to do it. You've paid, or in some cases, like millions, these mega influencers get paid. You've only had to pay someone with 3,000 followers $50 to post about it. Do you know what I mean? So that's a very popular trend at the moment. And they literally do it just by sliding into people's like message requests on Instagram, being like, seen it all the time, or they comment on someone's photo, on a girl's photo, and be like, hey, we'd love to work together. Like that's how they do it, as opposed to how you'd think, you know, reaching out over email and having I guess a professional discussion. No company's commenting on my Instagram and saying, oh, we want to work because I'm going to, you know, charge them a lot more than $50. It's interesting how the influencer game, but it's the future, man. And like, it's fascinating too. I moved to the States to be a celebrity interviewer. So influencer wasn't really on my mind. It never really was something that I ever considered doing or being a part of that world. And, you know, I'm nothing compared to any of these people, but I guess if, you know, talking in New Zealand standards, I'm doing okay. But, you know, I got into the media biz without having, you know, follow accounts or anything in my mind. But now that I've moved over to the States and that's the way that the ball's rolling at the moment, it's just become more and more important to have that following, which is really interesting because I have over 10 years worth of presenting experience, but then they'd rather go with someone that has 50 million followers to do a presenting gig, even though they've never presented before in their life, just because there's that exposure or there's that name attached to it, And it's sad that that's the way that it's going. But like, people are getting offered radio presenting gigs or television presenting gigs, not because they're good at it, but because they have millions of followers, which is really interesting, and sucks being someone who's actually genuinely passionate about the game. You can be the best at what you do, but if someone else comes in with millions of followers, that's their advertising done. So it's just interesting that that's the way that it's going now, and there really is no hiding that. Like the brands aren't even trying to hide it. Like was it the UFC that just had Addison Rae, who's a huge mega TikToker, do a presenting gig for them, which kind of backfired because she said something silly on Twitter along the lines of, "Oh, I dropped out of my journalism degree," or something like that, and now now look at me. And then everyone in the comments are like, "Well, I've been studying journalism or whatever it is for however many years." That's just the world that we live in now. Followers speak huge volumes.
Yeah, how has influencer marketing changed from your perspective, from probably being in the space before you left New Zealand and now? What do you think the big changes have been?
In influencer marketing, I would say, especially with COVID, people have been just on their phones more. People have been on devices more, consuming a lot more content than they usually would. There's just a lot more marketing, I think, in the last year. And that would be the biggest change, is that everywhere you go, someone's trying to get you to buy something. And there will always be a new product, or there will always be a new something for you to buy. And it's just a lot more everywhere. And as I was saying earlier, like a lot more natural integration, whether it be like holding a coffee cup or whether it be eating a cereal. There's just a lot more eyes looking at screens at the moment, and that's just going to continue to rise. That's why I say that I think natural integration is probably the future of promotions, because as someone who has posted very in-your-face brand deals myself, I don't like doing it. Audiences can see right through it. Even as a consumer, if you are watching something and it's very in your face, like you feel a little bit used. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Like, what am I to you? Am I like
just a
am I
cash
a
machine?
dollar? Am I a cash machine as a follower or as an audience member or a subscriber, whatever it may be? I would like to see people doing more like discreet brand deals, but they work. As we're talking about, the guy drinking his cranberry juice, the Chai D'Amelio with her Dunkin' coffee, like those work.
Generally, as an influencer, if someone's going to pay an influencer for an ad, how does reach come into play? Like if I'm like, "Oh, yo, Liam, can you shout out my channel or my product or something?" Is there anything that person could do to influence reach itself? Or is it influencer by influencer basis?
It's a bit of all of it. Definitely depends. The influencer that they choose is definitely a huge part of it. I think it's smart when brands will go seek out influencers that already are talking. When people approach me about doing a K-pop brand deal, because I do a lot of K-pop interviews, it's like that makes a lot of sense because that's where the audience is, So that plays a big part in it. But then also, I've done brand deals where they've chucked a little bit of extra money on so that they can share it themselves. They can share the content. They can post it on their own page. They can turn a TikTok that I make for them into an ad on whatever website or, whatever it may be. And of course, there's paid reach as well, which we haven't even spoken about, where either the influencer or the brand can just go and boost the post by putting 20, 30 bucks and in more serious cases, a few $1,000. And that just gets so many more eyes on the content. You could have 0 followers, but if you go and put $5,000 on a photo that you've posted on Instagram in terms of, ad, you're going to have so many likes on that photo. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just, you can pay for that.
Would you recommend that though?
A lot of ads do it. Like you see all that when you're scrolling down Instagram and it says sponsored or it says whatever, or someone pops up on your timeline that you don't follow, like that's all paid for. It works. I've bought things that I've seen on Instagram ads. It really just depends on what the objective is, I think, of the brand approaching you. If you are reaching out to someone with 50 million followers, you probably don't need to put any extra money on boosting it, but it helps, and it's a legal way to buy those eyes.
I mean, like, yeah, we've covered like how to get started with influencers. You said like just be real casual, like, yo, what's up? What's the follow-up strategy? with influencers? How do you see like building a long-term relationship with someone to promote all of your stuff?
Yeah, be nice, be easy to work with. I've got long-term relationships with brands and with companies that I've established through, we had one brand deal that was incredibly successful. And then I liked the dude, he liked me. We just kept the conversation going, and we've done a few more since then. It's a concert ticket company. I'm passionate about going to concerts. Like, it was just a great natural integration. And that's what I was saying earlier about when brands reach out to people who perfectly fit the niche of what it is that they're selling, it's just going to work so much better. And the influencer is going to want to work with you again. And, because they're actually passionate about what it is that you're selling. Brands should really be approaching people who have that audience down packed.
When you're reaching out to an influencer, make sure to keep it extremely short. And be sure that that influencer is on an upward spiral. Use formal tools like Social Blade to determine if they are to determine if they're losing or gaining followers. Once you've started that conversation, be sure to determine the exact cost and the length of time that these posts are going to be up. Essentially, just determine your deliverables. You want to get content out of the influencer. It can be through them organically, opening up this parcel and talking about the product, or you can actually agree to have that right as well. You might want to convert that content into something else in the future. If you want to do this though, you're going to need their consent in making that advertising. As they are essentially making advertising content for you, you're going to want to share that on all of your pages, on all of your channels. So just make sure that the influencer is okay with that. A great influencer hack is to find people with a YouTube and an Instagram following. If they're big on one or the other platforms, make sure to go to the smaller platform, because this is where the diehard fans are really going to be. Then you can reach out to those diehard fans through the influencer with your product. These diehard fans are going to really trust the influencer, so it's going to be more bang for your buck in terms of ad revenue. When running these campaigns, make sure that everything in the funnel is trackable. You can use UTM tracking, or you could make a unique hashtag and just give that hashtag to the influencer. Whenever they post about your product, they use that hashtag, and then you can see that hashtag over time. For people trying to build a brand, you've been quite successful at it. What would be like the core values of that idea?
I think for me, authenticity, we were talking about authenticity earlier, authenticity in whatever it is you do. I do interviews. So in my interviews, I want them to be as authentic as I can. I want to have a natural conversation, a good conversation. I don't want to be faking a smile. I don't want to be faking this or this or this or this. And I think that has helped people, A, watch my interviews, but B, know that I'm the guy that can give a good interview. So it is, I think, about authenticity and sticking to that. But then also it's trial and error, like we talk about TikTok, like you can spend hours editing together a masterpiece, but then it's that one little 2-second, 3-second gag that just ends up blowing up and taking everything to the next level. Just test the waters, trial and error, see what works, see what doesn't, I've recently started getting into Instagram Reels after everyone was like, you should get into Instagram Reels. So I did. And, some of them get 100,000 likes and then other ones get 500 likes. So it really is hit or miss, and you can't get yourself down about the failures, and you can't compare yourself to anyone else. Each brand or each person doing their thing on Instagram is different, and just show why you're different, I guess, and what makes you or your brand or your product different from the others and stand out.
True. Yeah. Good advice. And probably be consistent too, eh? Like once you find that the things that do work, just try and hone that again and again.
Yes. Don't do too much of the same thing, but also be consistent. They say on TikTok, if you want to really make it, you should be posting 3 TikToks a day. Boy, I post like 1 TikTok a week. Like,
Well, they're going to say that because they're incentivized to keep you on the platform.
Exactly. That's exactly right. They push you out more if you are on the platform, or if you use their effects that they do, or if you import music from their app rather than editing it outside the app. It's little things like that. They get you, man. They really do. But that's part of the trial and error. TikTok will never come out with a list of here's how to succeed on TikTok, because they want you to figure that out.
Okay, and here are some tips for growing and maintaining a following. Post consistently. Just like the fundamental nature of e-commerce, fulfilling orders you need to be consistent. If you posted out a bunch of products that had inconsistent variants, shipping times, and features, then your store would probably fail. Come up with a couple of themes that you can draw upon time and time again. For me, on my personal page, I either post 2 themes: photos of the world around me or photos of this guy. The latter clearly gets more likes because people know who that guy is, but the former is more expressive, so I like to post those photos more. So team up with like-minded brands and creators. Me and my mate Kane often take photos together, so we tag each other when we post a photo of the other. Do this with your store too. Find suppliers on Instagram and tag them. Tag your local post office and thank them for shipping out your orders, your courier, and of course, your influencer. It's going to be part of the package most likely, but be sure to double check that they will tag you in their posts because it's a great tool for more engagement. Remember to promote your Instagram account on your website and newsletter. Be sure to point to the community you're building. It's about making links and backlinks and more links and always engaging with your community. To kick that off to a good start, make a strong first impression. Get that bio up to scratch. You can be funny, serious, explanatory, but don't let it go to waste. People read bios and brands curate them accordingly. Those first few pictures people see need to be relevant. So make sure you demonstrate your brand values in this section. Nail your caption strategy. Headline, setup, share, bridge, and CTA. Write your captions all at once when you're feeling that writing energy. For me, the best time to write is immediately after reading. So I'm reading American Pastoral right now by Philip Roth, and the eloquence envelopes my soul. Take that inspiration of something you're reading and then write out 10 post captions in one sitting. Schedule them with Later or Hootsuite. Be thought-provoking, capture people's attention. You've only got 1 to 2 lines, unfortunately, before they click see more, so just go crazy. In your headline, the headline acts as a pattern interrupt and a topic sentence. Then provide context in the setup. Share what you really want to say to your followers, and then near the end, use a bridge sentence to summarize why people should care, and then push the CTA. Okay, and that has been our video on Instagram influencers. I hope you enjoyed our interview with the wonderful Liam McEwan. Feel free to follow him down below. He's got an amazing TikTok following. Crazy. Don't pester him with product requests. He did us a great solid today, so thanks, Liam, for that. That was really helpful. Thanks for watching, guys. The support is unbelievable. We're nearly 8,000 followers now, and it's kind of crazy. So just, yeah, thanks. Otherwise, have a great day. Take care.